Okay, we have a constant problem here. So a customer can come in and they can order whatever type of seat they want, and they can order as many of that seat that they want. But one thing they can't do is order one orchestra and one floor. And the reason for that is that in order for us to be able to programmatically be able to handle that kind of request, we can have one of two things. One is we can ask how many of each type. So how many orchestra, how many floor, we could do that. But that's a lot of questions for a person who just wants to come in and order some orchestra tickets, right? And let's go through all those inputs. So normally what we would do is we would have a double loop. We'd have a loop for each customer, and that's what we're going to be doing here. That's what we call an outer loop. And then we'd have an inner loop. Inside each customer, there'd be a second loop, and that loop would ask them uh, what type of ticket they want and how many they wanted. So that would be the normal way of doing it. Now that's beyond this class's requirement. That's just too confusing. I want you to understand loops, but you don't have to understand inner and outer loops. That's for another class. So we have that strangely enough type of requirement that can only get one type of ticket. If they want another type, they'd have to get in the back of the line and do another one. So after taking this and copying and pasting it into our Notepad++ file, it says they want to pop up after they've told us the information saying how much they owe. But see, okay. Well, I didn't do a good job of telling you what they wanted. They also want. So they want to, normally on this, I would give you what they want out. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right, so this is what they want out. They want to know how many customers, how many of each type of ticket was sold, and the dollar amount of each, and then how much money was done. So this is the total output on that. Then I have this practice data that says that as you go through, if you type in all these values after going around the loop 8 times, this is what your output should be. So this is how we test our information. So if we take a look at the output, the number of customers, since each loop is going to represent one customer, that this is going to have to be a counter. It's going to count how many times we go around the loop. So that's going to have to be a customer count equals customer count plus 1. The total number of orchestra tickets has to be an accumulator also, because a person is going to say, I want 5 orchestra tickets. We need to keep that 5. And then when they come down here and another customer comes in and asks for another 5, we need to add those two 5s together to come up with a 10. So those are our accumulators. So counter, accumulators. Now the dollar amount for each one is simply going to be, for orchestra tickets, is how many tickets times the ticket rate. So that's just going to be plain math. So let's go ahead and take a look at the start of my problem statement. I've done a big chunk of it because other than that, we'd be here all day and have a 4-hour thing. So I went ahead and if you take a look at here are all the sales plus the total sales, and that's just math. So we just called it that. But since I'm going to be accumulating tickets all day, these are going to be accumulators. And then how many customers, each loop represents one customer, so that's going to be a counter. And then we have the order total, which is how much they owe for the current sale. All right, so then we had to do some math. So I copied this. In fact, let me go ahead and get the rest of it. So I copy and pasted everything because everything here has got to be some math. I also put the input in just to make that easy. Normally I wouldn't do the input until after I found what input I needed based upon my calculations. And then of course we have our constants and we have our scope up here. So I started with the bottom one. If I know what how much money we collected for each type of ticket, I just simply add them all together, and that gives me my total sales. the total, the sale for upper tickets is that it's how many tickets we have times the rate. So these are all very similar. And now we come to the accumulators, and the accumulators are very easy because I would say that the upper cum, Control C, equals the upper cum times the number of tickets. So it's whatever cum equals whatever cum times whatever we're accumulating, and we're accumulating the number of tickets. So the rest of these are going to be very similar. So if I copy this, Control C, wait a minute. I need this first. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and then I copy this, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. So now all I have to do is the lower cum, Control C, is equal to the lower cum times the number of tickets, and the floor cum, Control C, is equal to the floor cum plus number of tickets times, no, not times. Hello. I did it on purpose to see if you were noticing. It's got to be plus. That doesn't make sense, times. I got that from below. So it's whatever cum equals whatever cum plus the number of tickets, and then orchestra cum, Control C, Control V, and that of course also is going to be plus. So it's a good thing I did it wrong first. So you can see where you could have went wrong. So this is going to be an even easier one because anytime we're doing a counter, it is whatever we're counting, Control copy, and it equals whatever we're counting plus 1. Easy. So you can see how easy it is, as fast as you can get it done. Again, this is a fairly complicated problem, but if you start with the bottom and work your way up, this is going to be easy. So the order total is going to be the ticket rate times num tickets. So again, if I have an orchestra and there's 10 tickets that they ordered, then my order total is going to be the 50 times 10. If they ordered floor, then it's going to be 40 times 10. So there you go. So we know that we're not going to be doing all these, well, plus 1. We know we're not going to be doing all these every time. So we need to go ahead and break it down. And this is going to be if ticket type equals orch, then we're going to do orch cum. And then we're going to say else if ticket type equals quote, quote, and that is going to be floor, right? Floor. Then we're going to do floor cum, and we'll keep on going. So if you break this into little pieces, parts, ticket type, come on. And that's going to be equal to, so the next one is going to be lower. And there it is. Then we're going to do that. And then we have our last one, else if ticket type, and that's going to be equal to, and the other one left is upper. So we just don't do else because remember we're going to be doing some error checking and error trapping because these if else if is going to turn into a switch, but we don't do that in a problem statement. Well, I have this up here that has to be done, and I have to determine what the ticket rate is, and the ticket rate depends on the type of ticket. So this math here, Control X, has to come down here because we have to do it after those decisions. And then one of the things we need to do inside those decisions is one last thing, and that is to assign the ticket rate. So if it's an orchestra ticket, then the ticket rate is going to be equal to the orch rate. And then we'll do that for each one of these. In fact, we didn't finish this, did we? What happened there? All right, so we're going to have the ticket rate for each one. Control C, Control V. Okay. Control V. And then the ticket rate for lower is going to be lower rate. And the upper is going to be the upper rate. And now we have the ticket rate and we also have the number of tickets. So now we can do this math. So you have to be careful making sure you do the math in the correct order. So are we done? Yes, we are done. All right, so this is how we're going to do it. We're actually going to flow chart it a slightly different way than our problem statement. Again, this is for our user, so the user can see, okay, this is how we accumulate tickets, and this is how we assign the rate. This is the math for that rate. Then we take those accumulations and, well, this is not, oh, that's not right. So that's going to be times. All right, and then we multiply it by the rate, and that's going to give us how much money. And then if we add all the money together, that gives us everything. So we have done now our entire problem statement, and now we're on to our flow chart. As I mentioned, is going to be slightly different than this. It's going to have error checking and error trapping, one thing, and the other thing is we're going to actually move this math into our decision just to make our lives a little bit easier and allow us to do the build and test methodology. All right, that's it.